Hey guys, it's Roy here from RWilco12 and EpicDroid.com, bringing to you today of an awesome product here that I have just gotten recently and I am absolutely in love with, and that is the Sony Smartwatch 3. Now, some of you guys who are a little bit more familiar with Android products, you may be saying to yourselves, what is he talking about? That came out 2 years ago. Well, you're right. The Sony Smartwatch 3 was announced in February of 2014 and it was released in October of 2014. It is now September of 2016, so we're a little bit shy of a month away from the 2-year anniversary mark of the Sony Smartwatch 3. So what is it about the Sony Smartwatch 3 that I would be doing a review about, and why would I be telling you guys to go out and get it today, as in 2 years later? Why am I going to tell you to get the watch now instead of 2 years ago? There's a couple of different reasons for that. The Sony Smartwatch 3, for those of you guys who don't know me, I am a watch I have a jewelry box for watches. I really like watches, and I have a lot of watches, and I collect watches. And so when Android Wear was announced and all these different devices have come out, smartwatches have come out, I have looked at all of them very carefully, trying to find the right smartwatch for me. I have tried a couple of different smartwatches. I've tried fitness trackers, and I've tried lots of different variants in order to find something that could replace my old analog watches and that would give me the same type of satisfaction that I get from them, but have some added benefits to it. Android Wear platform does come with some great benefits. You do get your notifications on your devices. You can use OK Google now on them, and so you can use services like that. So you can use your Google Now stuff in order to get notifications and to answer questions. You can use it to send text messages. You can use it to initiate phone calls. There's all sorts of things that you can do on these watches. One of the things I use it for the most is for notifications. I do like to be able to have that, so I'm not having to constantly pull my phone out of my pocket. I can just flip it over, look at my wrist, and there I have the text message I got from my wife saying, hey, are you coming home for dinner? Or I can see the message from my best friend Joe where he says, hey, when can I come over and hang out? There's a new YouTube video out from one of my people I subscribe to. It pops up and it says, hey, there's a new video out right now. And I can go and I can swipe over and I can say, open it on my phone, pull out my phone, and the video is right there ready for me to watch. So there are a lot of cool things that come with the Android Wear platform. But there's 4 things about the Sony Smartwatch 3 that would cause me to recommend it today. The first is updates. Just 4 days ago, I got an update for my Sony Smartwatch 3. So here's a smartwatch that is almost 2 years old, and I'm getting updates for it. Then the update wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything super significant. It was some battery life improvements and some security patches. Nothing super crazy. But I still got an update for it 2 years later, and they've been very consistent with those updates. So that there is a great thing for me, and I really appreciate the fact that Sony has put the effort into maintaining this watch 2 years after it was released. One of the other things I love about the watch is the transflective display. So that's a big mouthful for you can look at it in the sun without any problem. And that's more than saying transflective. When you have a transflective display, what that allows you to do is with the digital screen, you can look at that in direct sunlight and you're able to see it without having to hold it at weird angles or change the brightness or anything like that. When you have a normal digital display, many of you guys have experienced this, but you go out into the sunlight and you find it very difficult to see your screen. You have to put your brightness all the way up, or you kind of have to hold your hand over it or put it at a certain angle, and eventually you can see that screen. And it happens with a lot of smartphones and a lot of other devices, but the transflective display allows you to not have that problem, and you can just look at that. I do a lot of yard work and I do things outside quite often. I like to be out and I like to be moving and doing things, and when I do those things, I like to be able to just look down at my wrist and see what time it is. That's why I wear a watch, is because I want to know the time. All those other things are just extra ancillary enhancements that make the watch extra good. But I love that transflective display and that I can tell the time at any time. So updates, tell the time, transflective display. Battery life is the other thing. So battery life is number 3. And with battery life, it's listed as getting 2 days of battery life on the Sony listings. I have found that to actually be very consistent, and I normally get about two days of battery life. Now, if I'm getting a lot of notifications, if I'm getting a lot of emails or tweets, or if I'm getting a lot of text messages, that battery life does go down. And what I have to do then is I just plug it in and I charge it. But even then, I get a good day and a half of battery life on these watches, and so I have loved it. And I can say that, I mean, I've used other devices. I had a Fitbit that should in theory last for 5 to 7 days. All it is doing is tracking your steps, and that would run out before the Sony Smartwatch 3 did a couple of times. And so that's a really great selling point for me, is battery life. I don't want to have to plug it in all the time. It's nice that when I do have to plug it in, it also charges very quickly. That's another good point for it. But the fourth thing is the water resistance. This is rated at an IP68 water resistance. What that means is that you can swim with it, you can shower with it, and you can put it in all sorts of dusty situations and things without having that water and dust get into the inside of the watch and ruin it. And I love that because I am one of those guys where I wake up and the first thing I do in the morning is I hop in the shower. I have ruined many a watch because I don't stop to think and take my watch off before I hop in the shower. I have to hop in the shower so I can wake up before my brain starts functioning, and my brain is the part of me that would tell me to take off the watch, but it doesn't work till after the shower. But because of that, the IP68 water resistance, this watch can take a shower with me without any problems. It can go swimming with me without any problems. I can be out back working in the mud and fixing my sprinklers and getting water and dirt all over it, and I have several times, and I don't have to worry about it getting ruined. There is one caveat to that. On the back here, there is a little battery port, or a charging port. If you don't cover that, if you don't put it back in, then you lose that IP68 rating. So you need to make sure that you're putting that back on at night and that you're not tearing it in order to give you continue getting that IP68 water resistance, water and dust resistance. So the one thing I don't like about this watch is the watch band. This watch band, I like my watches and I like my watches to look good. And yes, this band isn't an ugly band. It's not an attractive band, but it can get very ugly because this band is one of the biggest dust, lint, fur, whatever magnets in the entire world. I had a dog, and whenever I pet my dog, he would shed a little bit and all that hair would stick to my watch and I would walk away looking like a tribble. I had issues with that all the time, but as I've worn the watch and as I've kept it for a little bit longer, I've noticed that it doesn't stick quite as bad, but it's still kind of, everything sticks to it, and I'm not a big fan of that. There are replacement watch bands that you can get for it for a relatively cheap price. Where I got this one, I got it for $80 on an Amazon warehouse deal. When I say a cheap price, we're talking about $40 for a watch band, and I just don't want to pay half the price of the watch to replace the band. The other great selling point, as I just said, and this is the last big selling point, is the price. As a watch that is 2 years old, the price has gone down significantly on it, and there's other smartwatches with comparable specs and some of the same features, but they are 3 to 4 times the price of what the Sony Smartwatch 3 is. And so the Sony Smartwatch 3 can be found on Amazon for between $80 and $150 or $170, I think was the highest one I saw, and that's a steal of a deal. And if you can get one that is new or refurbished, but I would recommend getting one if you're looking for a good smartwatch today. So it is 2 years later. Will I probably be getting another smartwatch? Yes. Will this one hold me off for a good while? Yes, I think it's got another year or two of life in it for me. I'm in love with the Sony Smartwatch 3, and I would highly recommend it to you guys. So, specs as far as the actual watch goes, I know some of you are asking that. It comes with a 1.6-inch screen, and that comes out to 320 by 320 pixels. There is no video recorder. It comes with 512 megs of RAM, and it has a 420 milliamp per hour battery. It comes with 4 gigs of internal memory and a processor that is a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz Cortex A7 processor. And so that pretty much sums it up on the specs there. It's a great watch. I love it. I recommend it. I think you guys should go out and get it. I will have a link to that in the description below. Make sure you hit the click more or show more button so you can see that, and it'll take you right to the Amazon page where you can get those. If there's any warehouse deals, I'll put those as the first link for you, and if not, I'll just have a link to the Sony Smartwatch 3 page. So if this video has been helpful to you, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And as always, we just want to tell you guys thank you for watching. We appreciate your support and appreciate everything you do. If you do want the smartwatch, the links are in the description below. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments. And as always, we just want to tell you guys thank you for watching, and you guys have an awesome day.